tell us like a funny, crazy, interesting, like the weirdest thing that has ever happened to you as an entrepreneur, as a Microsoft employee, as a venture capitalist. Pick some stage of your life.
Didn't know our story. We started at BC. Jebbit started my sophomore year, which was 2011. But Jebbit was actually the 5th company that my 2 co-founders and I started together. And I don't know if I've ever spoken publicly about the first one, but you guys will get the treat tonight. Kind of embarrassing. So myself and my 2 co-founders were freshman guys at BC. I'm pre-med, and like my friend's aunt's cousin or something was working for this doctor who was developing a device to allow a woman to give herself a pap smear at home. And we decided that was going to be the perfect company for us to team up and start with him. So this is a completely true story. He had this prototype device.
Why would you want to do that?
And they're like walking around
We had
BC
no
like
idea.
looking for women.
No. So the way the story went, we got the guy on the phone and we asked him what he needed. And he said, I have the device, I need clinical trials, I need women 18 to 25. We said, perfect, we have 4,000 on campus with us, we got this.
And they're beautiful.
We went to the dean of nursing, these 3 freshman guys, we put suits on, and we tried to convince her to let us set up a clinical trial on campus, and she said no. So I don't think, we did not apply to TechStars with that.
There's like a whole underground startup economy of like self-examination business ideas, apparently.
But you know what? Some of them are really good. Actually, they could work. So this whole home pap smear actually probably is a good idea.
We were just throwing people to
You just
to
were
do it.
absolutely the wrong entrepreneurs to go after this.
Yes.
Yes. Tip, go for it.
Yeah.
All right.
You're not going there?
I don't have any home diagnoses technology, unfortunately, although I have tested. Anyway, basically, the big one I think is when Katie invited us to TechStars, which is a huge, ridiculously huge moment in my life. She said, you need to get your CTO, right? And a little bit of background, he was still at Lockheed, he has 3 kids, and I had no money to pay him. And she's like, you need to get this guy or you're screwed. She was right. And so I talked to Nick, who's our CTO, and I said, dude, you need to come up here, I need you. So his wife recommended they move him, 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a turtle into an RV. They sold their house overnight in Texas, moved into an RV, came up here, because during the summer it's expensive to live up here. Lived in an RV the entire summer, and then moved into a beach house, hilariously, in the winter, which is so funny. He takes a ferry to work. He looks like a logger. It's really funny. But I think the story, it's not as ridiculous as this, but the story here is don't underestimate your team's ability to help you, right? You as leaders might have trouble asking your team to do certain sacrifices. Do I really ask this? But just ask. Katie taught me that. Just ask and they'll surprise you.
So Katie, you ran TechStars for how many sessions? Like 4 sessions? 5 sessions?
5 sessions.
What advice did you most often find yourself giving to entrepreneurs at that stage? You know, where like they haven't raised funding, they're maybe developing a product, maybe they have a little friends and family money. Like, what was the thing you most heard yourself saying?
I think the focus that I always try to get to is really understanding why are you doing this and getting very aligned with kind of what you want to create in the world. And then once you're aligned with that, showing some evidence around that'll work. And so like Dip, I used to torture with, hey, I know you're in love with your little panel thing that controls your heat, but I hate to tell you this, but a lot of women are going to control that purchase decision. Is it beautiful? Like, will it aesthetically match a house? And I used to torture him with that because he's like, oh no, it's totally awesome. But it's only awesome if your customers love it too. And so you have to really get deeply into that and understand, does your vision of the world match other people's vision of what would be great for them too? And I think that's almost the entire conversation of entrepreneurship. And all the stuff around capital and blah, blah, blah is, you know, just a sideline to that real conversation. And that to me is the fun of working with founders, is really helping them realize that vision, but also get evidence that it could actually work. And so that's the meaty stuff. There are lots of also other conversations, and this goes to Tom's comment too about, wrong team for that idea. A lot of teams that I choose not to work with, I just think, why are you working on that? Why is that? I know that looks like a great idea on paper, but why you? And so I think a lot of teams that don't make it, nobody can answer that question. Why would it be you? And that has nothing to do with age or experience or anything else. That actually doesn't matter that much. I hate to say it. I hate to say that a lot because I'm old. But it doesn't. It's just like, do you match your idea? Why are you doing this?
All right, let me just ask one last quick question to Tom and then to Dip, and then we're going to get to the real main event, which is hearing from the startups tonight. So Tom, do you feel like there are more occasions where you feel like being a young entrepreneur is an advantage or a disadvantage? Like, does a story pop to mind in terms of like going in to pitch these big clients, whether it's Uber or General Mills or something like that, and being kind of a person in his early 20s?
Yeah, so I mean, for us to start, and I guess I can only really speak to trying to start this while in college, but for us, we tried to, and it kind of connects with Katie's point too, we tried to stay focused on what value could we bring to the table, which for us was we are college students, therefore we presumably know what college students want. And so our first couple clients we signed, Bose, Coca-Cola, Microsoft were like the three big ones to start. They were struggling to really connect with that audience, and our first product was only available for college students. So to start, and I think you obviously see a lot of entrepreneurs who are in college start focused on doing something just for college students, it just naturally makes sense. Because as a student, the thing that always I think got to me the most as we were trying to get started was you have to be an expert in your field. You're a bio major who's starting an ad company and you've never worked in advertising, so you're not going to be able to do this. And so trying to start and focus just on students kind of gave us a little bit of edge there. And then the only last thing I would say is I learned very quickly once we left school and started doing this as like our full-time job, the amount of people that would just meet with me for fun just like totally tanked. So like while you're a student, take advantage of that. Reach out to people, first of all, at your school, alumni network. That's like so many people will meet with you just for that. But even people just in Boston that are working in the industry you want to be in, just reach out. I'm a student, I'm working on a company in this space, can I buy you coffee one day? And because you're a student, so many people are willing to and want to help you and educate you. They understand, they can relate to when they were students, and you lose that once you're not a student anymore.
Okay, one funny story exactly about this. So one of his co-founders was younger than Tom, and he was running sales in New York. And literally people would say to him, hey, let's meet at a bar and we'll talk about a deal, whatever, some ad guy or brand guy. And he was 19. And it's like, could we meet for coffee?
No, he's the only person I've ever met that got their fake ID for business purposes.
Yeah.
He had to meet a CMO at a bar one time and had to call her and tell her, can we meet at the Starbucks across the street? I can't get into the bar you're at. And he came home from that trip. We were actually in TechStars. He said, that's it. I'm getting a fake ID. Where do I get it? And he went out.
Expensive to the company.
Maybe we should have probably visited that.
$40 and Jamaica plated.
Okay, so Dip, last question is for you. So you were here at this event last year. Did we do it in November last year?
It was about the same time. Yep.
Yeah, so you were already a great presenter back then. But what's like the if you were to say like this is the biggest skill or the biggest thing that I've improved or learned since November 2013, here you are, you've raised a few million, been through TechStars, have customers waiting for the product. Where would you give yourself kind of the most improved entrepreneur star?
It's a great question. I would say we struggled with this very, very early, and also through TechStars is don't try and say too much, right? The stuff you guys are building is like amazing. It's got 50 things that are great about it. But what's the one thing that's going to make me buy it? Talk about that, because that's all that matters, right? Sales is all that matters, right? If your product doesn't sell, it doesn't matter how awesome it is. The iPhone wasn't the first smartphone. It's a great example. So the big message was early, simplify. Through TechStars, it was what's going to make them want it. And talk about that. The rest of it is noise. The fact that you've got amazing tech and blah, 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 all this, other companies have that too. What's the one thing you bring? Talk about that. And it's worked wonders. Also, for you, buddy, just do the dip hairline plan. It works. I'm also only 19, so.
How about all your team building? I mean, you've built an incredible team in the last year, right?
So, in terms of the team building stuff, this is another, MIT brought this up a little bit, but it really got clear at TechStars, which is fail fast, right? So it's easy to bring people onto your team. It's very hard to understand whether they're truly adding value and helping. And then if they're not, having that tough decision of asking, what's the problem? And if this is not fixable, cut it off, like a bad appendix. Like, you have to. Because just like T.O. and the Eagles, it's a cancer. It will break your company. And, there was, I'm a Philly guy, what are you going to do? Right? But the Eagles are awesome, even though what happened last week. But with Katie, there was times where she's like, if this guy's that good, go get him. Go get him. Don't worry about anything else. Go get this person. The team is the most important thing you got, right? People like Katie don't invest in ideas. They sure as hell don't invest in big markets. Although those are impacts, right? They invest in people like us, and that's what it's all about. So is your team the right team? And what we've learned is the more transparent you can be, the better you are. If a teammate doesn't work out, be honest why. Help them find a new spot.
Wrap up. Here's our plan: is we're going to wrap up the panel portion now. We're all going to be sitting in the front row, and after each presentation happens, I think we're going to do one or two quick questions from the group. Thank you all for your attention, and now on to the main event tonight.